ISIS.
Yeah,
Newcastle 1, Arsenal 2. What was that game?
fireworks, if you ask me, right? It was certainly what we were expecting. Aside a few detours in the game, it was what we were expecting. Newcastle treat matches against Arsenal like it's a very big game, and quite rightly so. They have an amazing fan base, very, very loud atmosphere, and they absolutely come out flying, tackles and all. So we played them in pre-season. We saw how the game progressed with time. So we had a good feeling, or we had a good sense how the match was going to go. But again, absolutely fireworks because of how the game ended and everything that happened within the match. It's something I'd love to watch again without the fear of, oh, we're not going to be able
Yeah.
to catch up to Liverpool.
I also love to watch that kind of game again. First half, what was your thinking when you saw the lineup?
At first, I thought that's a very good lineup. I was only worried a bit about the left wing position. Reason is we've seen Trossard not really turn up against very physical teams. He tends to then play a bit deeper. He doesn't go 1v1. He rarely tries to be his man. He tries to recycle possession. So when we play Trossard against teams that are quite physical, he um, he doesn't he doesn't play to the tempo of the game. He tries to do something different, and far too often it would lead to us feeling like we're down a man on that side. The alternative being, I would have loved to see Martinelli on the game because his confidence is high, even though he doesn't really he doesn't really flatter as a winger as well. But what I can tell you about him is he's excellent in transition moments. And this was a game where we were going to get transition moments. So the
Yes.
lineup was solid overall. Can't fault that.
And I could see in the game, I could see Trossard was not even hugging the left wing side. He was playing more centrally. I don't know whether that was an instruction, but he wasn't even going to that left wing. He was playing more centrally with Eze in the middle. I don't know why. But I felt if he could have, if he hugged the line a bit, it's gonna free up some space for Eze. But he was just playing centrally. He hardly. I think the one time he went there was when he had a shot and he hit the bar.
Yeah. I don't know if I would say he was playing to instruction. Far too often you hear Arteta giving out instructions on the touchline for where he wants players to be. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
really see that happen today with Trossard, even in the second half when the team has flipped sides on the pitch and Trossard was closer to where Arteta was standing. What I did see, however, is something I've noticed with Trossard, even from his time at Brighton. I want to say Trossard is an inside forward. FC25, you play video games a lot. You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean by inside forward.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's not really that winger. He's a winger that likes to cut in when there's
Hmm.
play in front of him so he can pick a pass or pick a shot. And he tried to do that today against the Newcastle side that we're very happy to see back. Right? Put your crosses in, we've got taller defenders, we've got taller
Yeah.
players on the pitch. You know, try to play through the middle. We've got absolute brutes in Joelinton and Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali. So they really wanted the only space we were getting in the game was out wide, and it felt a bit sad to see that Saka was being doubled up on the right wing with Anthony Gordon sometimes playing as a left wing back for Newcastle, and Trossard was getting pockets of space in there, but he couldn't capitalize. And because of how much he was drifting inside, we didn't get to see Calafiori take on that, what I like to call maverick role, that left-sided player role where he just
Yeah.
pops up anywhere in the final third. Yeah, but I don't want to attribute too much blame to Trossard because he was tidy on the ball today. He did a lot of things good,
Yes.
but he just didn't give us the weight we needed in a very difficult match.
Interesting. Do you think the decision that the ref gave in the first half was enough to demoralize the players and to just kill the players' morale and just drop everything they have on the game?
Um, so I want to be very careful the way I talk about this issue because I don't like being the person to throw around allegations of foul play or something, right? But I think when you think you've got a stonewall penalty and it's not given, it kind of just makes you feel somehow about the officiating in general. You can have perfect officiating up until that point, and then what's supposed to be like a clear as day decision gets overturned, and all of a sudden you start to pick at the moments, right? That one throw in that was supposed to be yours that the ref didn't give, the ball
Yeah.
that deflects off the defender for a corner that the ref didn't see. You start to think like a lot of things are going against you. Now, I
Yeah.
want to say far too often Arsenal are on the receiving end of such decisions, which you can see why it starts to feel like, oh, here we go again. It's like a here we go again moment. Like
Like
everything's
Fabrizio.
going well and something's just happened, and all of a sudden, right, this is what we talk about. This is, we get refereed to the letter when other
Yeah.
people get slaps on the wrist, other people get common sense, right? As some referees or some professional ex-referees will say, "Oh, it's just common sense, mate. You don't
Doesn't
really
want to
have to
kill the
do
game.
that. Yeah, I don't want to kill the game or something."
Mm.
But when it's Arsenal, it's letter of the law. It says this, it says that. Now, I don't think that played too much into the morale of the players, right? Because up until that point, we've had about two, three very good chances in the game. I'm talking about Aze's shots that the
Yes.
keeper had to make great saves on. But I noticed after that there was actually a drop off in how players started to go into duels. Timber was
Yeah.
becoming a bit more careful. Same thing with Calafiori when you feel like, oh, it's one of those days again where we barely get any of the contentious decisions and the
Yeah.
opponent just gets everything. So yeah, it does play a factor, but I don't think the referee did too much wrong today, given how the game played out across the 90.
Why did you think the ref didn't do too much? Because it got to a point. I saw the reluctancy in the ref to blow some fouls and to give cards. The only card I was given was like was Calafiori, and it was like the 70th minute. If you check
Yeah.
on a normal day, cards should have been flying around.
Let me
But I
start by
think
saying, yeah,
that decision that went on in the first half might have led to that to the leniency in the cards being given. Oh,
it is very controversial, that one. But I want to point out that in real time, the referee blowed for a penalty, right? He's looked at what he's seen, and he said, right, a striker's through on goal. He's
yeah.
put the ball past the goalkeeper, and the
Mm-hmm.
keeper's actions has actually brought the player down, right?
Yes.
And this is what is important. The keeper's actions have brought the player down such that, and I'm willing to put good money on this as a wager. If Gyökeres wasn't brought down, he'll be able to tap that ball in the back of the net with his left foot, right? If he doesn't, if the keeper doesn't, that's literally a clattering moment, right? And the referee has blown for a
The
penalty in real time.
penalty.
But then this is what we complain about VAR, that it is the consistency. We've seen this happen with Robert Sanchez and Mbeumo in the Chelsea game, where the keeper, yes, did get a touch on the ball, but absolutely denies a goal scoring opportunity. And he was given a red card for it, rightly so. And I want to say again, right, if this is one of those games where the referee blows for a penalty, VAR doesn't intervene or anything, no one's going to feel aggrieved, right? You've actually stopped the striker from getting to the ball in a position where you've been beaten by the ball. It was left for a tapping into the net. That, I don't know how much more you want to define denial of goal scoring opportunity, or doxo as I like to call it. So again, right, I think the referee didn't do too bad, right? We have to look at the people who are refereeing the game from a distance.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much, but
But
recall last
do you
season in
actually know
Bournemouth
that
game with the
the Newcastle fans, the Newcastle players and Nick Pope, they were surprised it wasn't even given as a pen. They were expecting a pen. They were like, "Oh, I messed up." Pope was like, he knew he messed up already, and he was
first
expecting a pen.
complaint I saw from the Newcastle player, I think, and I might be wrong on this, right, was that ball was a result of a long ball being played, a couple of, I call them volleyball passes, where the ball bounces, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
somebody gives a poor touch, right? Someone might be hinting at a foul in the process, and then the keepers realize, oh, I got a foot to it, right? But again, you give that as a penalty, we're all fine. Everyone knows,
Everyone is
well, you
fine.
got a
Yeah,
foot to it, you
yeah.
patted the player down. But you don't give it as a penalty, and then people start to ask you, what are you doing? Right?
It's 95% more a penalty than not a penalty.
And again, yeah, the referee's giving it, right? The referee's giving it. This is what I've seen, right? When you slow anything down, it starts to look bad. You
Nah, it
slow
starts to
it down
look,
over and
yeah.
over. You slow it down, it really starts to look bad. But then, this is literally VAR clutching at straws here, trying to
Yeah.
pull out something to say, oh, there's been a foul, or he's got a touch to the ball. The touch to the ball did not change the direction or the
It
flight
didn't
of the
change,
ball.
not at all. It didn't change anything.
It's not
It
like
didn't
he's
change
got the
anything.
ball away for a corner kick. There was still a goal scoring opportunity there in which his actions as the goalkeeper caused the player to not be able to shoot the ball because he's brought him down with a knee. He's clattered into him and he's not able to get to the ball, having beat the keeper in the first place. It's not a situation where the keeper got to the ball first. It's more a situation of the player kicking the ball and it flicks off the goalkeeper's toe. If you take a shot, it flicks off any player's body without changing direction of travel. You don't get an own goal for that. You get your
Hmm.
goal.
Hmm.
So what are we saying? What are we saying? And again, I'm not upset with the referee today. I'm upset with VAR
Yeah.
intervening in what is not a
The,
clear and obvious error.
the ref has given it. Why did you have to? Why? Just why?
Now,
The same thing happened in the second half when Gabriel got a ball was kicked to Gabriel's hand. All day that ball is a penalty, but VAR said it wants to review it for a pen. Why didn't VAR give that ball as a pen?
okay, two things you have to consider. I want to point out how we've been hard done by decisions like this and why I say to you the referee is not done too bad today. If you recall Arsenal versus Chelsea, the first game last season, where a ball was headed onto Saliba's arm from a very close range, a situation or a position where there's not really much you can do. Like it's a game in play, full flow, 90 minutes, a cross coming in whipped pace, a player putting a head to it and then it hits you in the arm, right? If you were to give that as a penalty, that would be very harsh. But it got given against Arsenal because again, we are refereed to the letter of the law, and other people get to apply common sense, right? That was harsh. I felt so that day. The João Pedro incident with Saliba, the clash of heads, the
Yeah,
ball did come off Saliba's head as well, but that
yeah.
was given as a penalty, so that was harsh. And I felt we've been hard done by this again. But on this day, the referees applied what we've actually been looking for all this time. You've got a ball in, you've got a defender sliding to get the ball across. You've hit the ball at pace. The ball's bounced off the defender's body. It hit his shin, hit his body, and then went up to his arm. There's very little he can do in that situation to stop that. He's sliding, he's supporting himself, and you've kicked the ball against his shin. That's where the referee decides to give the benefit of the doubt to say, this game is happening in full flow. I might not
Full
blame this
flow.
because the defender is already sliding for the ball, he's already on the floor, there's not much he can do, and the ball's coming at a very short distance and hit him on the arm, right? Recall, Gabriel's leg wasn't too far from it was literally Gabriel getting a shot on the ball, kicking it off of Elanga for the ball ricocheted into his arm, right? So it was a situation where he's already on the floor. He's not actually put himself in that situation before the ball was kicked, right? And the referee said, "Common sense, right? Let's let
Mhm.
this play on, and then I can go
So
take a
the
few
ref
more."
disregarded the VAR call then.
No, the VAR did not invite the ref to look at it. The VAR checked it and cleared it because that would be you literally hard doing Arsenal twice in the match, right? You've
After
the players
equalizing.
kicked the ball, the ball's flicked off of Gabriel's shin and it
Yeah, yeah.
hits it's Gabriel in the arm. Before or I think a little bit was it after that, right? We saw a situation where an Arsenal players hit a rebound like a ball from the middle of
Yeah,
the
Martinelli shot.
yeah, and then it's come off Bruno Guimaraes' arm and it's deflected for a corner kick. And the Arsenal players try to tell the ref, oh, that's a handball. But then
Then
again, right,
listen.
it's a shot that you've taken at such a close distance. You've not given the player any time to react. And again, Bruno was turning away from the ball. So I saw that, and again, the ref hasn't given Arsenal that as a penalty, even though Arsenal were needing a goal. So I felt, aside the VAR intervention, which absolutely killed the flow of the game for that first 20, 30 minutes, the referee didn't do too bad, honestly. He hasn't had the stinker we've expected, but it's the VAR and the people who are slowing things down, looking at it
Yeah,
in slow
yeah.
motion, that we really need to worry about. Like,
Mm,
what are we doing?
Interesting. So, at some point in the game, I wanted Izzy to move down to the left wing at some point. I wanted Izzy to move down the left wing because why did I say that is this? We had Saka taking 1-on-1, taking two man on the right wing, but we never had that moment of someone picking on a man in the it was like that left wing was left dormant throughout today. it was just so dominant. And we had Calafiori making runs there, but Calafiori can't go forward. If Calafiori were to be like a player like Tierney that gets the ball there, runs down the wing to full length and whips in a cross, that'll be fine. But we didn't have that play along the left wing. It was towards the end of the game we started using that place. I think the last 10 minutes, but the entire game that place was left dormant.
I want to say, I don't. I want to say this is this has been one of the best AZ games I've seen. But I will say it as I will rephrase and I'll say this has been AZ's most impactful game for Arsenal. I'll tell you something interesting. Since Victor Gyökeres has been at Arsenal, right, only three players have been able to find him with a through ball that puts him in on goal. Direct through ball that puts him in on goal. If we want to count balls that are flicked to the wing and that he has to run the ball, what or whatnot, we can add Calafiori to the list.
Calafiori, yeah, yeah,
Right. But the one player who has played Victor Gyökeres through constantly, and we saw that today, was Eze.
yeah. Is
And
it?
I'll say Eze is more impactful as an attacking midfielder. The second player who's actually managed that, strangely enough, is Martin Odegaard. But it was a situation where the ball was too heavy and he couldn't really get it in his stride. That was the game against United, the very first game of the season.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.